Hi, this is Danny Hicks live from the California State Home for the Bewildered, and you had better be listening to the Tim O and Harley Show.
Welcome to the Tim O and Harley Show.
Thank you for listening to the Tim O and Harley Show. I am Tim O. Over there is my partner in Mindcrime, Mr. Ben Harley. Say hello, Harley.
What is happening, people?
Ben, the face hater Harley.
Oh, a lot of hate.
A lot of hate.
Faces.
A lot of hate.
I saw a lot of faces I hated over the weekend, my friend.
So Ben Harley had a house show for Power Bomb Wrestling, and the Potentate of Hate and the Circus of Pain went up against, let's see, who was it? The Andy, the homemaker?
Andy Cement Head Shane.
Oh, boy.
And, Rick, the homemaker Baker.
Right.
Yeah.
So now I heard you guys mugged him. Literally.
Oh, yes, we did. We mugged him twice.
Oh, no.
Not only in the ring, but yes, there's some new champions, Timo. Now, according to some people, define the word win, and I'll give you $1. Right? How about that?
Yeah.
Some people think that I don't know. It's pro wrestling, Timo. Right? So, for me, anything goes, and if you ain't got the stomach for it, beat your feet. Right? So, the belts did change hands, Timo. Yes, that's true. There might not have been a 3 count. But yes, we are in possession, my friend, of those belts. Yeah.
That's 9/10 of the law. It's 9/10 of the law. I'm telling you right now.
That's
I know this.
And I've already talked to my lawyer.
Oh, yeah.
Timo Esquire the third.
Yes.
Third, is it?
No, just Timo Esquire, the last honest counsel in the lower Americas.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah.
Yes, I've talked with him, and yes, we'll be making a formal announcement here soon.
Good.
Yeah.
It's needed.
But we will be back on the 20th of September to defend our belts. I don't know what they're talking about, but they are our belts now.
Are you in possession of the straps?
Yes.
I say you're champions.
Well, yeah, right. Exactly.
I say you're champions. That's
yeah,
what I say.
So, exactly. Yes. And no, it went very well, Timo.
Good.
Very brutal match. Yes, my friend.
Oh,
yeah.
boy.
And I must say, I thought the youth of or the generation or the youth, I guess, or the next generation maybe wasn't going to be so smart, but there was a young kid there, I'd say about 12 years old, and he bought himself a Potentate of Hate shirt and a Circus of Pain shirt, and put the Circus of Pain shirt on and sat in the front row with his mom and dad. And rumor has it he had stated that the Potentate of Hate is his hero.
Whoa.
Yeah, and my poor glasses. You know, you wouldn't hit a guy with glasses, right, Timo? Come on, you're not supposed to hit a guy.
Not unless he was wearing them. No, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. 30 seconds into my match, my nice new glasses got smashed.
Oh no!
But this kid, he saved them for me. But I told him, you keep them for a souvenir, kid. You keep cheering on the pain. You know.
Nice.
So it was a good time, Timo. And yes, we are the champions. So if you want to play that this week for me, that'd be great.
Right? Yeah, we won't get in trouble for that at all, right?
No, they'd never care about that one.
Well, very nice, very nice.
Timo,
where's that next show at? Is that another house
St.
show?
Clemens Hall.
Okay.
Yeah, yep, same one, St. Clemens Hall, and
the date again, the bell time.
September 20th,
Okay.
and bell time's 5. Doors open at 4.
Okay.
So get there early and get you a good seat.
Right.
And but be on the lookout. There might be some clowns afoot.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Danny Hicks will not be happy. He does not like the
No,
clowns.
you better tell Danny Hicks that we got the belts, and if he better wise up, we might show up at his house.
You had a good crowd too, right?
Yeah, very good crowd this time. I think it translated over pretty well from the Matthews Ford show. I'd say we at least had double what we had last time, which wasn't saying a lot, and I'm not trying to downplay us, but yes, but this was a good crowd. And not only just that, and you'll come across a crowd that's, you've Timo, you've rocked your whole life, and you've gone in front of crowds where you rocked your socks off and you blew the doors right off the building, and you still hear crickets.
Right.
Yeah. And sometimes it's just and then you might go into a place and you think, this is going to be fun. And the crowd's electric. And this was an electric crowd from start to finish. I give them all the credit in the world. They were great. They were awesome. And I picked out a few guys while I was watching from the back that I didn't like. I didn't like their faces, Timo. So,
right.
So when I came out, I made sure I told them. But, there was a couple guys smuggling 250 pounds of dope in their underwear. So I put security on them.
I'd like to personally arrest them.
Yeah.
And I'll take them to my personal jail. Yeah. And we'll make a deal. I'll make a deal with them.
These are dopes, Tim.
Yeah.
Dopes. Yeah,
You're talking about Kentucky ditchweed dopes?
No, these guys are dopes.
Okay.
If you know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
Yeah. Smuggling in their underwear. 250 pounds.
Oh, boy. Yeah. So, well, very good.
Yes.
Very good. Glad it went well. And the reign of terror. Okay. The reign of terror.
Begun.
Yeah.
I told him, Timo.
Yeah. It continues. It continues.
I spoke the truth.
Whew. So, well, me and Angio, we had quite a weekend too. Not as many fights. Not as many fights.
No. You didn't have to duck any chairs.
Not flying at me, but there was a lot of chairs I had to duck when they were setting up the show. We were at HorrorHound Weekend.
Yeah.
The new hotel that new to HorrorHound.
New fancy hotel.
Yeah, they moved locations right downtown to a very imposing hotel. I think it had like 40 floors or something. It was definitely a big part of the skyline of Indianapolis. Very easy to get to. Parking's a little rough. It's a little expensive. It's doable though.
Sure.
The place is just a bigger investment. It's a bigger investment for HorrorHound. It's going to be a bigger investment for vendors and fans a little bit. Yeah, but I didn't really hear any complaining. Most of the complaining I heard was not about that. It was just people just preferred the old hotel because it was kind of out by itself, a little bit more of a party friendly type of environment. This place was a little more nice, actually a lot more nice. It was very nice. Yeah. And, but I will say the hotel staff, I didn't see anybody harassing anybody having a drink or smoke outside or anything. They were doing pretty good. That's good. Yeah. I didn't hear the San Francisco 49ers complaining either. They were partying with the horror people. Yeah. They were staying in the same hotel. There was it was a busy day, or actually a busy weekend in downtown Indianapolis. We had right next to the hotel, and there's a giant, basically the hotel is made of glass and steel. So on one side of the hotel, you looked over a AAA ball club, baseball. So we watched over the weekend two games. It was like perfect seats too. It was interesting. And then there was a preseason game. Lucas Oil Stadium is right. I mean, everything's right there. Yeah. So there was all kinds of sporting events. I think Cake was playing across the street, and I didn't know. I didn't know till it was done. Could have walked right out there and watched them. It was a whole bunch. I think Ben Folds or something played. Oh yeah. It's just a really strange, like, alive environment, for guys who live around St. Louis and Detroit and stuff like that, to see a downtown real alive like that was kind of almost like, it was a little jarring, I guess. I bet. I thought the entire town was going to try to mug me if I walked outside just to look, and stuff. So, but again, we were helping Dominic Mancini. So Angio and I were celebrity assistants. Yes. So Angio spent most of her time with Danny. And I wisely spent a lot of my time with Miss Cassie DePaiva. Yeah. Beautiful, alluring, talented, and very gracious and graceful Cassie DePaiva. So I got to sit with her and chat for a little while. And that's always nice. They're very good. Hell yeah. She's so cool. I mean, all those guys are very nice down there. It was fun. We were very included in everything, invited to everything. And everybody's very nice. Mike Estes, who is Bruce's assistant, and Serena Vincent's worse half, I should say, not better half. We don't want to say that, but we're all there, and it was very pleasant to us. And right next to us, Mr. Ben Harley, on one side of us was Megadeth's bass player.
Oh,
believe
really?
it or not. Yeah, he was on one side of us. Gave him a Brain Invasion CD.
Oh, good for you, brother. Good.
Yeah, that was kind of nice.
I've been listening to a little bit of that lately.
Have you? Yeah. Well,
the new one.
He was stereotypical aging metalhead. He had thinning, long, crispy hair that he flipped around a lot any chance he got.
Oh, yeah.
But he's very friendly, very nice guy. And then on the other side of us, Mr. Ben Harley, was Terry Kaiser, otherwise known as Bernie from Weekend at Bernie's.
Bernie, yeah.
He was a funny guy. He was funny. Yeah. Every time he takes, I don't know if this is, I'm not very familiar with Weekend at Bernie's. I think I might have seen it once.
That's not a good movie, but I'm not super. It's been a long time since I've seen that movie.
Well, I don't know if it's part of the movie or not, but he had me rolling because every time he got up to take a picture with fans, he put his little glasses on, little sunglasses, and he put his arms around the people, and he would do this every time. Every single time. And he had this laugh that was infectious. Infectious. And he was a swell guy. He was very nice.
Oh, that's cool.
He was a cool guy. And it was very nice too because Mr. Joel Robinson and Dominic facilitated this, but Joel Robinson, Danny Hicks, Cassie, and Terry Kaiser all donated some materials for an upcoming Oktoberfest that we are having for Corey, our son with cerebral palsy, for his group home. Angio is on the board of a charity organization that collects money and does things to help keep up the group homes. So if they need something fixed, they've raised money for this and stuff. And we do auctions, and there's like a strawberry fest, kind of a rural kind of.
Ooh, I like strawberry fest.
Oh, yeah.
We got a nice one here. I like them. Bro.
Yeah. Well, they have a good one out there. Angie makes that strawberry bread. For it, so it's very good. But
good for her. That's awesome, and that's great that they did that. It's
very nice, very
awesome.
nice, very nice. So we got some autographed pictures and a couple Blu-rays and stuff to throw in some baskets. Joel donated some nice posters that he designed that Sid Haig had signed.
Yeah,
and so
nice.
pretty good. So I like to publicly thank again Mike Estes, Mike Kinsworthy, Ken, Sarah, Dominic Mancini again. Rachel, our good friend Rachel Lee was there.
How's Rachel doing?
Rachel's doing good. She was working for Sean Clark.
Okay.
So she was on the other team. But we are still very good friends anyway.
So tight.
Yeah. Had old DVD Bob there. I raided his table. He was holding out on me, Ben Harley. Holding out on me.
What do you have that you didn't have? Come on.
Are you kidding me? He had almost everything we reviewed in the last year on DVD. He had a Blu-ray of it.
Really?
Yeah. Even The Being. He has The Being on Blu-ray. Now, I would know that if he would have told me, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I might even have that.
I told him that the hair on the back of my neck was standing up because I was so offended that he was holding on. Yeah. So we saw Bob. Right next to him was Mr. Scary Gary Nichols.
Yeah, I saw him post some stuff over the weekend,
and his partner this weekend was Madman Mike. I like Mike. Yeah, Mike's a good guy. So we had him. Let's see. Did have a brief chat with Mr. Lance Hendrickson. Haven't seen him in quite a while. That was nice. He's always a very nice guy. Always a nice guy. Yeah. And and let's see. As I said, partying with some 49ers. You know what's funny? 49ers were there, and
who was there? Who was there?
The 49ers.
No. Who? What guys? I don't even know.
Well, here's the thing. It was a whole team. It was a whole team.
Joe Montana there?
No, Joe Montana.
Okay.
But they did fuck up my smoke.
Oh, really?
They messed up my smoke, Mr. Ben Harley. We found Senior Brian Williams was there.
Yeah.
And
was he?
And Brian was. I did pick up a copy of Amazon Hotbox, their new movie with his lovely wife Ellie in it, but I have not watched it yet. But I did pick up a copy.
That with the lights out, won't you?
Yeah, I'm waiting for Ian to go out of town, which is tonight. But Brian Williams found. He was popular in my world because he found a secret smoking spot.
Oh, nice.
The secret smoking spot also happens to be the secret spot where the 49ers were getting on their bus and having their team meetings and stuff. So I go down there Down my secret smoke. And there's one of the 49ers executives who I pretty sure I recognize. I know a little bit about football, Mr. Ben Harley.
Yeah, you didn't tell him you were a Green Bay fan, did you?
Oh, fuck no. You kidding me? No, I didn't say nothing about that.
Pack you in a suitcase.
Right. So I walk out in our spot. There's buses lined up, running, right? And this one guy in a suit, this executive I recognize was standing there. Had a cigarette in my hand. I'm walking out. He goes, "Sorry, sir, this is temporarily closed for smoking for now." He wouldn't say why or nothing. I'm like, looking at the buses. I saw the team meeting going on. I'm like, I'm working upstairs. I'm just going to walk way over there and have a smoke. I'm sorry, you can't do that. I said, listen, I mean, you can imagine me. I'm getting irritated. I go, listen, I know what you're doing. I know who you are, and I could care less. I don't care at all. I'm like, dude.
I'm a Green Bay fan.
Yeah.
What?
Kiefer Sutherland and Jason Patrick and Bruce Campbell and Robert Englund are here, and I'm going to bother Richard Sherman? Come on. It's like, Jesus Christ. What was funny is that I didn't really see anybody I necessarily recognized. And people were giving me a little heat about it. And I'm like, look, I watch football. They wear helmets.
Yeah, I have a hard time with them hockey players.
I'm sure you do. Yeah. I mean, and their faces are usually exposed, and it's still hard to tell.
Yeah,
everybody is. So that was
like, put your helmet on. Oh, that's who it is.
Right. So that was very interesting. So that was cool.
That's awesome. No, that's cool. I like that stuff.
Yes. So it was
not getting hassled, but
right. Oh, I had to
go. Coming across like seeing a sports team or something, and stuff. That's kind of cool,
Well, we've had
those guys,
right? Well, we've had some interesting We've shared the hotel at a horror convention with some interesting folks before, right?
Haven't we?
Interesting mix of people, right? And this was probably one of the more interesting ones for sure. But we did. It was good. Danny and Cassie did very well. A lot of fans came up. Now after Bruce left, Danny kind of fell off a little bit because a lot of people came for Cassie, Danny, and Bruce's autographs at the same time. And Cassie has her secret weapon, her soap opera fans.
Oh yeah,
because she spent maybe a grand total of 2 months working on feature films in her life. And I think it's been 32 years on soap operas. So her fan base is a little more widespread on but it's so funny. Now, this is the second time I've helped her to show. It's so funny. First of all, seeing the emotional middle-aged women walking up.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Oh, you're Eve. Oh, you're Blair. Because she has different characters on different shows. And
she has she plays two women. She's a twin or something.
Well, no, she's gone. I know. Yeah. But she has jumped
Evil twin.
Right. She has jumped from show to show to show. And one of her characters, actually the actual character, jumped to a different show, which is very rare in soap opera in the soap opera world. It does happen, but it's an honor for that to happen,
Yeah.
And so that's very cool and everything. And but what's really funny is seeing like the big black t-shirt, tattooed, long-haired, chain-wearing, metalhead slasher fans walking up to the table going, "I loved you and One Life to Live." And sneaking off, like they all watch this shit too, so it was funny. I will say the most emotional person was a guy, big dude too, and he was like misty eyed and stuff. Oh my, he was blowing air in his face and stuff. I was like, what do you do to that?
Is it hot in here? Somebody turn on the air.
Yeah. What do you do? And I'll tell you, Cassie, she had a battle with leukemia. And she's looking great. I mean, her hair is all back to being very pretty, like it was when we met her and everything. And she's not that she was pretty through the whole process, because when we saw her last year, it was right after treatments, I think. She her hair was still growing back in and everything, but she still looked beautiful. I mean, she's just a beautiful woman. So Ben Harley, it was a lot of handsome going on.
Well, yeah,
me, Angio, Danny Hicks, and
that's four of the handsomest people I know.
And Cassie, so it was good time. So very, very fun. Glad we got to sit with them, and it was good seeing them again. And hopefully we'll get to see them again soon. They're very good people, very real people, and friends. People, I can call friends, and that's I'm proud of that. So. Awesome. A couple other things, Mr. Ben Harley, to report back. Besides my celebrity assistants. But the Walking Dead bubble, Mr. Ben Harley, I think, has finally burst.
I was thinking about that, when that was going to happen.
I think it's finally burst. I did hear through professional and trusted channels that, they'll be lucky to get guaranteed a show, I bet, anymore.
Really?
I don't think anybody cared two shits about him. From what I heard, it was pretty dead for them.
Wow. No pun intended.
Right. So when you got, and we've sat with Danny before. Now he's been to Indianapolis like a dozen times with us or something.
Yeah.
And he was rocking compared to the Walking Dead people. So they might have had their spurt, but Mr. Ben Harley, our old movies, they got legs.
They got legs.
They got legs, baby. They got legs. So
good for
that
Danny
is,
too.
Yes.
And I'm glad that went over well and everything. And
right.
he deserves it.
So, but besides that, I think everybody did really well. But I think the Walking Dead bubble has finally gone kaput. So,
Kaputski.
Did see some sad news over the weekend while we were there. We saw that Mr. John McCain, Senator John McCain, passed away.
Yes.
And any politician I'm going to agree with sometimes and disagree with, doesn't matter. He was a patriot. Took a lot of lumps for this country, Mr. Ben Harley. A lot more than I've taken.
He took so many beatings it crippled him. You know what I mean, he took a crippling for this country. So same thing. I like John McCain. Didn't always agree with him.
No.
I thought sometimes he was a little wishy-washy, but I cannot. Man, it's hard to say too many bad things about a guy like that. Went through the stuff that he did, and came out and still could be as compassionate and stuff, like he was. So, God bless him and his family. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So I know it seems a little soon to me. I see a lot of things on social media with people already debating, bitching and stuff, and him and Trump didn't get along. Blah, blah. You know what? Let the guy go to peace.
Maybe Trump had him off.
So condolences to his friends and family and the country at large. We did lose somebody who was a hero, and I don't mind arguments within the country. I as long as we keep it civil, which we haven't lately. But I like civil discourse. I don't mind it all. That's how we get things done, Mr. Ben Harley. Disagreeing, figuring out what makes everybody happy.
Right, Tim. You've been in a couple rock and roll bands. And it's hard to get two people to agree on something, much less 4 or 5. Right. Imagine how I don't know how many congressmen. I can't remember offhand. I don't care. So,
I know there's 50 senators, so it's tough.
50 senators, and then you got
the House is big.
Other bull crap. So I don't even care.
And then also, which actually made some ripples through the convention. I actually saw Danny and Cassie really get kind of emotional. Actually, Cassie got pretty emotional about John McCain too, and Danny did too.
Really?
Actually. And then they also got pretty emotional because Neil Simon passed away.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. So Neil Simon passed away this weekend, so they got fairly
There's
emotional.
a lot of people. Oh, geez.
Yeah. Yeah, it was so. But one thing, Ben Harley, that I almost forgot because I didn't have it written down, but I do have a little sticker here with something written down on it. And I forgot that at HorrorHound Weekend, Angio comes back to the table and said, the guy who made that movie Primal Rage we just made is here?
Yeah.
That we just watched, I was like, what? She goes, yeah, the guy who made Primal Rage is here. I go, he's here. She's like, yeah, he's over at Mask Fest. He's here with some vendors. I said, really? She goes, yeah, he has some posters sitting down there and everything. So I walked up, and later on I walked up and I saw a poster on a table. I was like, who's responsible for this at their table? And then the people pointed toward a guy who's like 6'6" or something, 6'7". Wow. Yeah. Huge guy. And him, And I talked to him for a minute. I tried in a loud room. I tried to explain to him that we have a podcast, that we do, some Bigfoot stuff. I tried to explain to him that we have Mr. Mark Diamond from the Dwarves on the show every now and then. And this was something between me, you, and Mark, that we were really wanting to see this movie. I said, this is very ironic. And I said, everybody's bought this movie to watch. And I gave him one of our cards and everything. And his name is Patrick McGee. So he gave me his email address and stuff like that. And I just told him, hey, I'll send you, I think we're going to have Mark on the show, which that's another announcement. So Mark Diamond, who is finishing up his Rocking the Southern Hemisphere tour is going to be getting done, and then he is going to be on the show because he wants to speak a little bit about this movie Primal Rage. He loves it.
Yeah.
Now, it took me a minute to think about it. I liked it too, but I think my problem was a horror movie versus a Bigfoot movie. Now, here's something interesting.
Okay.
Loud room. We didn't talk very much. I couldn't tell if he wasn't a very personable guy or something had just happened or something. It wasn't unpleasant. Just seemed a little quiet. Let's say that the guy did.
Okay.
And so I talked to him for a little bit, but I asked him, I told him, we talked about it on the show. I said, but I treaded a little lightly when we were talking about it. We're not done talking about it, I told him. I said, because we also have history in the Bigfoot community. And he kind of looked at me and I said,
really?
And the Bigfoot community doesn't really appreciate horror films about Bigfoot. And he kind of rolled his eyes and I said, you've experienced this, haven't you? He goes, yes, I have.
Really? Yeah.
Yes. So the Bigfoot community, would you get off the guy? Seriously. All right. I mean, come on. I mean, we're talking about a talking monkey, a walking monkey, not talking yet. We haven't gotten that point yet, but a walking monkey, man. Okay.
Right.
And we're not making fun of you for going out and listening to stuff like that. But I'm okay with humans. And Michael Myers was a human. That was still a horror movie. We've seen an elephant horror movie, Mr. Ben Harley.
Right.
Mr. Ben Harley, we've seen ants attack people.
Oh, that wasn't bad.
Right.
Yeah.
We've seen ants attack people, right? We've seen rabbits attack people. Ben Harley, I love dogs. But we've seen dogs attack people, right?
Yes, we have.
So get off your flipping high horses and give the man some peace and let him make a horror movie about a pissed off Bigfoot.
Right.
He didn't have the entire species attacking a family. Okay. It was, anyway, so moving on. Just wanted to mention, I almost forgot Mr. Ben Harley. I almost forgot, and shame on me.
Shame on you.
Shame on me for forgetting that. But Mr. Patrick McGee seemed like a very pleasant man. I will send him an email. I don't know if we'll have him on a show or anything like that, but at least we did make some contact and talk to him about his film. He's aware that people out there are watching it, and I did.
That's good.
I thanked him for making it. I said, well, thanks for making it. I said, because there's not very many good Bigfoot movies. And he asked, in fairness, the guys asked, well, what are some good Bigfoot movies? And I said, we liked Stomping Grounds. I said, I thought that was pretty good. I think I mentioned Exists. I said, but for me, it's always going back to Abominable Snowman in the Himalayas. Yeah. And they kind of looked at me. I was like, don't judge me. I don't give a fuck what you people think. I know movies. Right. You might know how to make them. I know how to watch them. Right.
Well, I know I mentioned to Phil and Jeremy, who guys I know that might be clowns. Anyways,
right.
About watching Exists, and when we were at the wrestling show the other day, Phil said he tried to watch Exists. He said, but it was too shaky. For him. And I said, well, Tim was the same way with that. I said, I found that one not to be near as bad because I forgave it for the GoPro stuff, but there were some parts, but it's nowhere near like a lot of those that are just awful, as far as.
It's not the worst. No. And as far as a Bigfoot movie, I feel the same way as I did kind of about Primer. It's for a horror film, it was passable. As for a Bigfoot film, it was better than average. It was pretty good.
I like it. It's understand, still one of my favorites.
Right. And you have to understand, if any people making these films are listening, that is a compliment for me. I don't mean that as an insult. It's hard. It's hard for me to really wrap my head around something. So you're doing something right if you're at least getting my attention. Okay,
exactly.
So very
exactly.
Good.
Right.
So, Mr. Harley, I did not want to forget to talk about that.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah,
and I'm glad you got to meet him. That's pretty cool.
Yes,
that's really cool.
Right. So I did no idea he'd be there, so that was really cool. But But Ben Harley, let's. It was fun. Again, thanks everybody. Dominic, Mike Estes, Nathan. I saw Aaron for a couple minutes. Everybody. Growing pains, but they did a really good job. I think the only complaints I heard was, like I said, just people kind of complaining that they like the old place better for their own personal reasons.
Sure.
There's give and take to it.
But you're going to get that.
Yeah, they made a successful move. As far as how different the place is, I think they did pretty good for their first time there. HorrorHound did. So congrats to them. Yeah. These shows aren't my kind of...
I missed it.
I am too. I think he would have fun. But these aren't really my kinds of shows anymore. But they outgrew me, and that's fine because they grew. And congrats to them for their move and everything and their success and future success to them. I'm sure I'll be back at some point to That's not my last horror hunt. I can't guarantee that. So, but even though we have fairly retired from the shows, Mr. Ben Harley.
A little bit.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Ben Harley, our guarantees were just getting a little insulting.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So.
Another thing,
how much you expect them to take, right?
Right. So another thing, Mr. Ben Harley, I talked to our friend Jerry Chandler from Synapse.
Okay, yeah.
And picked up a new shiny Blu-ray of Suspiria that they've been touting. Yeah, they had a 4K restoration of it. They've been playing this in theaters around the country and stuff like that. So I'm going to maneuver this into what I watched this week, Mr. Ben Harley.
Okay.
Because I picked up that, and Mr. Jerry Chandler says, he goes, Tim, listen, you buy a lot of stuff from me. He's like, pick out something. Whoa, what?
What?
Whoa. Like, all right. So, but he's a gift from Synapse Films, from Jerry himself. So I looked down and his credit, he picked out a film called Path of Blood. Now, my first reaction was, that wasn't the one I was looking at, Jerry. I was looking at one of these 80s classics over here that I don't have. You're handing me some new thing with a samurai in the front of it. Okay.
Yeah,
so he said, no. He goes, this is the best movie I have on my table. This is it. I didn't know anything about it. So, you know what? It was a gift. I appreciated it, but he made me promise to watch it. So you got to watch it, maybe watch it tonight. Well, I didn't watch it that night, but I watched it a night later, which was last night in the space-time continuum. I watched it the day after I got back. And it was, again, called Path of Blood. All right. Made by a gentleman from, I do believe, in like Tennessee or Kentucky or something, named Eric Power.
Okay.
He made a film with the same process that the South Park guys did in the very beginning of South Park, where they actually took construction paper, lit it, and animated it. Okay.
Yeah.
And they use computers and stuff now because they have it takes way too long to do it the other way. So he made a samurai movie, South Park style, and it wasn't like funny. It was a serious samurai movie made with this, and it's actually pretty good. Jerry was right. It's only an hour long.
Okay.
But boy, if you have any kind of appreciation for art and painstaking processes,
this is it.
This is it. This is your movie, man. So I appreciate that, and thank you, Jerry, very much, because he clued me into something I had not seen. I probably would not have ever seen had he not given it to me. It's a new movie, and it's an interesting process to make a film. And I liked it. Wasn't too long, but it told a whole story. But it was great. I mean, there's samurais cutting each other's heads off and stuff. It was good though. It was fun. So again, it's called Path of Blood. I suggest people maybe check this out. If you can find it streaming or anything somewhere, or maybe go to I think it's Synapse or synapsefilms.com, I think. Pretty sure. Synapsefilms.com. I think Synapse, maybe Dash Films. You look it up, find out Synapse Films and do a Google for it and go to their website and pick it up. It's good. It's worth it. It's worth it. Yeah. So a couple other things, Mr. Ben Harley. Oh, real quick. Yeah. Didn't watch it, but just wanted to shoot this out there to you and the fans. I don't know if you do this, but Gigantor is on Prime.
Oh, is it?
The old Gigantor series is on Prime.
Oh, okay. Really?
Yeah. Just want to throw that out there.
I like that.
Right.
Old Gigantor.
And then, so only 2 flicks here, Mr. Ben Harley. 2 flicks. Okay. First of all, another one from 2016. Can you believe this?
Jesus, guy. Are you okay?
Well, it's a documentary. It's a documentary, so I get a pass on this. So it's a movie called Out of Print. And it is on Prime as well.
Yes.
It is a documentary on LA's New Beverly Theater.
Yeah.
Which is like a retro house. They show like 35 millimeters movies and stuff like that. And they have retrospectives. And then they let like celebrities program their movies for a couple of weeks. Like John Landis, Quentin Tarantino, who actually helped keep that theater alive, believe it or not.
Yeah.
So it's very cool documentary and very touching. They had Clu Gulager has his own seat in the theater with a plaque on it. And apparently Clu and his wife came there almost every day.
Okay.
And his wife passed away. And it was very devastating to Clu. And he started coming back and people were, giving him condolences and stuff like that. And he said, my wife was my reason to live. When she died, so did my reason to live. Ooh. And these people saved my life. Now they gave me another reason to live.
Oh, that's great.
And he said, I tell people I don't come here to watch movies. This is my living room.
Nice. That's cool.
It's very touching. Very touching.
Yeah.
You could tell that Clu was just a great guy. And apparently, like he would talk a lot because he was in like 9,000 movies and TV shows and stuff. So he always gets a little commentary, I think, when he's there in the theater and stuff. So, but very, very good documentary. I liked it.
I watched a little bit of it. I didn't get through all of it. Might have been my mood that day. I think it was moving a little slow for me. I did catch a little bit of that.
Well, there's murder and intrigue and everything. So you missed out on something you thought was going to be mild. It's not. There's a lot of crime and a lot of the ownership changing hands and backstabbing and all kinds of crazy things.
I saw some of there was some crazy stuff going on, which is cool, though, in a way, I guess,
Right. So
it makes for good storytelling.
Yes, it's an excellent documentary, though. I implore everyone to go watch it. And then finally, Mr. Ben Harley from 1980, back in the old wheelie house. Yes, 1980, Angio and I pulled out and watched Altered States.
Oh, all right. Okay.
Yes, directed by crazy Ken Russell and starring William Hurt.
William Hurt.
Let me tell you something about William Hurt in Altered States. I learned something new, even though I probably knew this and forgot it.
Yeah.
That was his first movie.
Really? Wow.
I didn't know William's first film was Altered States. I did not. I think he had some television appearances.
I think I've seen him.
Well, I just didn't know. I figured he was at least in little 70s movies or something. Something else besides that. But again, this is his first theatrical film. He did make a couple TV appearances.
Yeah.
I love that movie. I love that movie. Absolutely love it.
Movie.
Yeah. Oh God, I love it. Yeah. All the lines, all the dialogue. I think, and I told Angio this, and I stand on this. That to me is the greatest performance by an actor I've ever seen. William Hurt in that movie. All the dialogue he's rapid fire saying and stuff. Yeah. It's just insane. It's all metaphysical stuff and everything. And he's just going on, It's like, I think that first self is quantifiable and incarnate, and it's like, okay. He doesn't talk like any human talks, but it was.
Right.
And that's what makes it hard too. So, but great film.
That was one of the first kind of like thinking man ones for me. You know what I mean? Back in the Showtime days when that was on.
Right.
Yeah, it was a little bit above my head, back then as a kid, because I was young when that came out, too.
Right,
But I do remember there's some very memorable moments in that film that were real, like, I'll still, like, kind of shocking to my system as a kid, I guess, too. You know what I mean? And, him banging off the wall and the way he looked and stuff. And it's just, I thought even back then, like, those were some really cool effects back then. I mean, I spent a little while.
Yeah.
I think we did review it a few years back.
I think so too. Yeah.
I like the movie. It's not one that I watch on a regular basis, but it is a good film. And I remember, I think I was in St. Louis and I was trying to get back to my room one evening and I was doing the Altered States. Not because I wanted to, I was bouncing off one wall and trying to get off the other. And it was all because of that grape ape. I had grape ape Altered States, however you want to put that. Yeah.
Well, I didn't like it. I just said I didn't like it. It went over my head when I was a kid too. I enjoyed it. I liked the caveman type parts and stuff like that. And I liked, of course, the very end had some cool effects. I think that was Dick Smith, who was the godfather of effects, who worked on Exorcist and stuff like that. But as I got older and started being interested in women and more of the deeper meaning of life and stuff, it blew me away. So it not only grew on me, it was like a wart on me after a while, and I just love it. And it's like I told Angio, I have a crush on this movie. I have a crush on it, so we watch it. But it was fun to watch. It was good, and I still stand on this. That is the greatest performance in film is William Hurt in that movie. That's just unbelievable to me. Boy. So what'd you get your little beady eyes on? I know it's been busy this week, but
Tim, I've been printing quite a bit, and stuff. So it has been busy around here, but I've been watching a few things. I think I told you before I was watching, so many shark movies. I didn't know where one ended and the other began, because they're just that wonderfully written,
and shot.
And I think there might have been the same characters through about 6 of them. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think they just put different clothes on them. So,
right.
Anyways, so I, the other day, Timo, and every once in a while, I go Timo style. If I come across something like on AMC or whatever, I'll put it on. And I've watched King Charles and His Crusaders, Timo. I don't know if you're familiar with that film or not.
No, I am not.
AMC. I didn't know if there was a wine that came with that movie or anything.
I don't think so. I don't think I've seen it.
No, it's okay, but yeah. It wasn't super familiar to me. It's based basically on King Charles and his Crusaders, and there's some other silly stuff that kind of goes on. It's silly. It's more like a almost like an after school. I don't want to say that, and I don't want to dog out on Disney, but it's more like a Disney style, film.
It's a fluffy film,
a little bit, but
Yeah.
there's some intrigue and there's some dissension and things. But hey, that Disney has that as well too. So it was okay, Tim. You get some knights, you get some jousting.
What year was this? What?
Oh shoot, Timo.
Was it black and white or what?
No, it was color. I'm gonna say late 50s.
Okay.
Late 50s.
Anybody of note that was in it?
Oh, probably not that I could tell or remember.
50s people.
Yeah, 50s people. Yeah, with beards.
Somebody who might have known Glenn Ford or something. I don't know.
Faces in there,
Yeah, right.
But it's just the way everything worked out was just so kind of, I don't know. It was kind of silly, but I did enjoy it. I did. It was fun. So
good.
Keeping with I guess warlike theme. I did watch Gettysburg. We have some movies here, some DVDs that got brought in, and they've been sitting here for a while. But this was...
Is that the one with Jeff Daniels?
Yeah.
Man, I can't stand that movie, man.
It's long. It's long.
That and Gods and Generals. I think they're sequels to each other, and man, are they just... They're pains. They're painful.
Yeah, they're not bad. They're just long and kind of... I don't really... Here's the thing. It's something that I'm going to have to watch 2 or 3 times. Not that I really want to, but it's something because I couldn't flip and tell who after a while, it's just everybody. That's the guy. There's another guy with the beard. Who's this guy? I don't know. He's you could tell the guys by their beards,
right.
But some of it is not real good. But I did enjoy. I said Andrew Prine was in it, but he was only a very short time that I can remember because And then our buddy from the Funhouse. Kevin Conroy, is it? Right?
Kevin Conway?
Conway, Conway. Not Tim Conway.
No,
Kevin,
not Tim Conway.
Yeah, they might be cousins. I'm not sure.
Might be.
But
they might be, yeah.
I like them both a lot, actually. But yeah, he was in it. And he had quite a big part in it. He was in it quite a bit. And I did enjoy him a lot in it. I thought he was really good. There's a lot of actors in it. I mean, okay. First off, there's a lot of good actors in it, but they don't knock it out of the park by any means. I spoke of this before, probably on the show and also with you. I have a hard time with Civil War history.
Right.
I do appreciate it, but I don't always. It's not my first thing.
Right.
Because I am a damn Yankee. First off,
right.
Damn Yankee. But most of my family that I know of, growing up, that were alive above ground,
right?
Growing up, were my mother's side of the family were Southern. My mom grew up in Norfolk, Virginia, and that area, and so I have a love for the South, a very big love for the South, but I'm proud to be where I'm from the North,
right?
So it's hard, and I feel that because and it's funny because my grandma and my mom too. My mom never got real upset about anything, but one of her favorite saying was, you went through that like Grant through Richmond, and my mom, even watching Gone with the Wind, would get fired up at the end of that. Like, she just, that stuff, the South,
Right.
So anyways, it's hard for me, to make a long story short, it's hard for me to kind of watch some of that stuff in the first place. But
take it personal.
A little bit, because I know both sides,
Right.
You feel both sides,
Right.
you know what I mean? And I don't want to see it. And it's an awful, awful time in our history.
Yeah.
Awful time in the American history. And I don't want to get too political in it, but blood was shed for certain things that absolved this country of other atrocities as far as I'm concerned.
Right. Gotcha.
A lot of people died.
Right.
A lot of people died.
Yes, it did.
And didn't have to.
Right.
And did it for what they thought or believed. So, but yeah. So Gettysburg, I might go back and watch it someday. It's not, it's all right. Nah.
Have you seen Gods and Generals also?
Bits and pieces of it, my
son.
But
Man.
yeah, I kind of
Robert
feel the same
Duvall,
way.
I think.
I couldn't get into it either. It was hard for me to get into.
Yeah.
That was a hard one for me. So yeah, I might try to go back and watch that one again someday too.
I don't know, man.
But,
Well, I'm just saying, like they're. Well, that's fine, yeah, because I'm feeling you. They're very slow and kind of like dry. Yes. It's almost like I don't mind like some realism here, but I don't want to live the Civil War in real time.
No,
I don't want to sit there and stare at you sleeping for 8 hours or what. You know, it's just kind of like I don't know. I there's something about those movies, and some people loved them. I think like kind of dry historians really like those movies.
Yeah.
But you gotta
not enough.
You gotta have something. No, it's just you gotta have something to keep an audience riveted.
Yeah,
to get the message across to them. You know, I mean, it's like I used to tell Chance, don't you say don't do that. Don't do what you see people on TV doing. You know, don't imitate people and stuff. And I would always end that with Chance, don't ever do anything that you see people on TV doing. Because if they weren't doing the wrong thing, then it wouldn't be interesting to watch.
Right.
And they're doing the wrong thing, so we watch because we don't have to. And so so it's like almost the opposite of that. It's like, okay, I understand they signed this treaty. We don't need 10 minutes of the paperwork being drawn up. We don't need this. We don't need and I'm exaggerating a bit. But isn't that kind of the way it felt to you when you're watching?
I much preferred watching Civil War documentaries.
Yes.
Like Ken Burns, and I mean, all he's doing, and I shouldn't say all he's doing because I do appreciate him.
Yeah.
But like, he's zooming in on photographs.
Right.
You know what I mean? For the most part. And I found some of that stuff more interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. So, right.
But, hey, it is what it is. Sure. I have a problem, Timo, and I know you have a problem with mustachios. And I know I probably even have, I don't have much of a problem with mustachios. Some I do. Mm-hmm. But my problem is I have a big problem with fake mustachios that look fake. And there's one scene in this where the guy, and they got the beard kind of almost close to the real person because they would show the photographs of these real people, which I found helpful.
Right.
But I forgot by the time the movie got started who was who, Mm-hmm. But, I was like, all I could concentrate was on that guy. And I just he just looked painful wearing that fake mustache. It was a big ass beard with a big mustache, and I don't know. I have a hard time with that because that takes me out of the realm of believability, I guess, whatever. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but a lot of them in this film, you would not have liked that.
Yeah. No.
Okay. Real quick, Timo, since you are so snooty and you're always going back to like the 30s and the 20s watching these films, I decided I'd go back to Gettysburg. Now, I know that wasn't filmed in the 30s, but I'm even going to go back even further, Timo. I'm going to go back to Fallen Timbers, my friend. I'm going all the way back.
All right.
Now, I know this is too much horror related, but the other day I sent you some messages while you were at HorrorHound.
Yeah.
This is how nerdy I am. I'm doing laundry in Maumee, Ohio, and I have been super fascinated lately with the War of 1812, only for the fact of the matter is I didn't know enough about it. They didn't teach us enough about it. And I really think they should have, man. Mm-hmm. I mean, so you and I talked a little bit off of air too about this, but the Fallen Timbers is right down the street from where I live and our shop is and stuff. And there's the monument dedicated to not just the Mad Anthony Wayne and the Americans and stuff that died there, but also the Native Americans that died and also fought alongside of the Americans and stuff. But this is, I went out there and it's the first time I've been by the monument many, many times, million times in my life, but I never actually went out to it. It sits off a little bit and it was kind of breathtaking, buddy. I really must say I felt, I don't know. I felt kind of like a jackass a little bit. Like I'm out there thinking, man, but this was a significant battle in our history of our country. And I just think it was really kind of cool. And I've read, a lot more about it. The reason it was called Fallen Timbers over there is because a tornado had gone through and wiped out a lot of the trees and stuff. And a lot of people took cover in there and fought amongst themselves, fought in the trees and things like that. And I'd actually gone across the street to where one of the actual battleground. And I've gone by that patch of woods so many times in my life and never knew. You know what I mean? So it was really cool and very interesting. And for me, and actually spooky in a way. You know what I mean? And it was cool for me though. I went over there and I tell you, it was an awful day. It was raining, it was nasty, but I'm glad I did it. I really am. And I think knowing something that significant in American history has just been down the street from me all these years. And I think things are named, we got Anthony Wayne Generals, Mad Anthony Wayne, the street goes right down in front of me, all these things, but I didn't really know. And I kind of felt bad about it. So it was cool to go out there. You know what I mean?
Right.
And hey, any guy named Mad Anthony Wayne's got to be kick ass, Timo. I'm going to take my daughter. We're going to go out there. I just thought that day is like, I'm trying clothes. I'm like, well, I'm going to go over here real quick. I ain't going to sit here and watch the dryer go around in circles. I mean, no, that is fun sometimes. That is fun.
I can't even watch Exist. You want me to watch clothes go around in circles? Are you kidding me? I'd be throwing up all over them.
So I went, I went to step up further. I was like, well, instead of watching clothes dry, I'm going to go over here and learn about the,
Right.
but yeah, so that's pretty much it, Tim. And I apologize. I didn't get a chance to do too much horror stuff. I spread horror at St. Clemens Hall with the potato hate.
The hateful horror.
What I call my merry mob of monsters.
Right. So, that's all right. We had a big week that we had to report back on. So neither one of us really had much. But we do have official films of Mr. Ben Harley that we dutifully watched.
Okay.
And so let's go through those. Ready? All right. So let's go and you want to do chronological order again?
Sure. Yeah.
All right. All right. Yeah. So first up from 1934. All right. We have The Clairvoyant.
The Clairvoyant?
Otherwise known as The Evil Mind. That's the other title for it, starring Claude Rains and Fay Wray.
Mm-hmm. With dark hair in it too.
Oh yeah. So we like us some Fay Wray. So let me get out movie guy here and give you a little short story synopsis here for the film. For The Clairvoyant. All right, Here we go, Mr. Ben Harley. Here we go. A mentalist with a mind-reading act and his wife are aboard a train when he suddenly feels that there will be a crash and tells everyone on board to get off the train. The train does indeed crash, and he finds that he now possesses the power of clairvoyance. His powers only work in the presence of a particular woman who causes problems with his marriage. That's it. Yeah. Yes. So his powers only work, and that's the whole crux. Okay, so again, this movie, The Clairvoyant, 1934, also called The Evil Mind. Let me give you a better storyline synopsis than that. So a guy, he's basically a charlatan. We've seen this kind of story before.
Yes.
And this is probably one of the first, if not the first, versions of this. But so he's got an act with Fay Wray, Claude Rains does, where they do the old, how many fingers am I holding up? So of course she's in on it and giving him signals on what to say. He's a charlatan. Yeah. He's a charlatan psychic or seer, or whatever. And they have a performance that goes wrong. It goes real wrong. Yep. And there's a woman sitting out in the audience who clearly feels bad for him because this is all going wrong. He's knocking over, Claude Rains is knocking over tables because he's in blindfold. Everybody's laughing at him. And he starts
the girl can't get back into the building.
Right. Fay Wray couldn't get it back in. Yeah. She got out of the building and got locked out. So she couldn't do her trick and couldn't do it. So it all got messed up.
Yeah.
So a woman in the audience starts looking at him she feels very bad for him. And then all of a sudden he starts having these visions and talks about this disaster that's going to happen, which of course it does come. It does happen. And so now he's making visions that come true. And since he's a charlatan, now he's trying to make a bunch of money. Mm-hmm. Now he wants to get all this money, wants to do all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. And yes, this woman seems to be around him, and that's when the seeing starts. And so it does cause problems between him and Fay Wray, which is fairly the crux of the film. The problems between a little bit of a 1934 style love triangle. Now, see, in 1934, when someone would kiss someone else on the cheek, the woman might say, "Oh, Samuel, are you making love to me?" And I sit there and think, woman, in 2018, I'd make love to you, but it wouldn't look nothing like this.
Like that, no.
No. And then so there's a little bit of that love triangle going on, and the fact that there's some drama with his prophecies going on. Yeah. Now, horror film, not so much, but there is some supernatural hoosmafudge in this. Yeah. It's not... Yeah. It's not like there's a simple explanation. Let's put it that way. Now, Mr. Ben Harley, you're going to be shocked by this.
Okay.
But the first time I saw this, it tricked me. It tricked me.
Okay.
I didn't catch the woman truly. I watched this movie, and it's going to be hard because there's no way of discussing this movie without kind of giving some of it away.
Right.
I really don't think there is. So, and as you would say sometimes, it's from 1934. You've had some time to see it, although it's not super available. It's kind of rare. And as a matter of fact, did you watch this on Prime?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Well, that is an hour and 7-minute version of the film. I actually went and bought a DVD that's 81 minutes. I do believe this movie is public domain. If it's not, a lot of people are stealing it from somebody because it's out in different versions. But I did get the whole version of the film. I'm not sure if we missed anything between the two. I doubt anything super important was missed or whatever. But
maybe some more hand holding.
Maybe something like
kissing.
that. Yeah. So, but that all being said, I didn't catch, believe it or not, the fact that the way I read the film is the clairvoyant. Let's put it this way. The clairvoyant isn't necessarily Claude Rains.
Right.
I see it as another person feeling bad for him, instilling that power to making him look good, and then doesn't know when to stop because it's a monster she created that she can't stop.
Right.
That's the way I read it.
She does fall for him too a little.
She does. Yes, and it does cause problems. But it's not a real, I will admit, I looked over at Angie when we were watching this, and she did go, meow. She had her cat claws out. I was like, don't looking at me like, don't you do it, like that.
Yeah.
So, but I didn't catch it. Now, I watched the movie this time, and I think we've all seen this before, because even Angio said she had seen it. So maybe
it was real familiar.
Maybe we did review it. I don't remember reviewing it. But
I don't remember reviewing it, but I do remember that, it's weird.
Maybe you saw it on Comet or something. Maybe Angio came out. Maybe Angio and I watched it and you saw it on Comet, so we all saw it. Because I don't recall reviewing it. But it's kind of hard to remember sometimes. We're on show number 418 or something like that. We've done a few films. It's kind of hard to remember exactly the ones, especially when you little rare oddities like the Clairvoyant.
You're as old as us too.
Yes. So this movie has a distinction of it kind of did trick me. Yeah. It did trick me. I mean, even though it's right in front of your face, it shouldn't trick you. But as I watched the movie a second or third time now that I've seen it, it was kind of a pleasure to watch because it's pretty much in your face. Because that woman is just staring at him every time he makes a prediction. Yeah.
Because he has I don't want to say writer's block, but every time he can't, once he finally starts getting people coming in, he's trying to make money, and that guy's like, you come up with a prediction, you're out, know, and then he can't do nothing, and she shows up and boom, another predict, so, but yeah, it is kind of weird because you don't really know, because she's just in the crowd, and when he locks in on her, everything changes. Her face doesn't, but his does. He kind of goes ghastly and his eyes glow a little, you know what I mean, and stuff. So it really, you're not really sure.
It's eerie.
I was thinking,
a little eerie.
For me, I felt like she might have had some of the power as well, but she brought it out of him, or she was almost like a conduit for him.
I thought she had it all. And she was,
it's not, you're not sure.
Right, right.
But she might have, because the thing is, she wanted him, and she did say that to his wife, Fay Ray, whatever his wife. She told me, I wanted to steal him from you and stuff.
Right.
And, but it's funny because when it first started, you know how I am with opening credits, Tim. But as soon as it started, and then they're on the stage, and I saw the lady that plays his mother, I was like, oh, I know this movie. But it just all of a sudden kind of came back to me. It was weird. Mm-hmm. And I think his mother also played a very big role in the film.
Yeah.
Because she says, I know what this is, and I know because his father had kind of the same thing.
Well, and that's kind of weird too, because didn't she allude to the fact that there might have been some kind of horseplay with his father, someone was instilling that in him as well?
Maybe, yeah.
So it is a little vague. You're right.
Yeah. So and so she was I liked her character in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she was ghastly at times too.
She was, but I think she was only like 2 years older than her son and Fay Ray. She wasn't very much older than the other in reality when you look at the movie. Yeah.
Yeah. But as far as the movie goes, I found it to be okay. And I know I watched the whole thing before. And so watching it again, I enjoyed it. And then even towards the end, when his one prediction really kind of, I don't want to say blows up in his face,
Right.
But I thought that was even the courtroom stuff was really good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And how it all ended and wrapped itself up.
Right.
One thing I did like too, Timo, how when he would make predictions, sometimes they weren't exactly how he said them. You know what I mean?
Right.
Sometimes, and I love the ones, the horse race one.
Right.
So he said that all these people are there, and and it's a big deal, and the horse loses. But no, wait, the other horse, I forget how it happened, went across some.
There's a technicality. Yeah.
I like the word cheat,
Right. Well, and they kind of also bring up the fact, like, he predicts a train. What happens to be on, that it's going to crash. What happens to be on the train, he gets off the train, and then the cops tell him, well, the train wouldn't crash if you wouldn't have gotten off of it. If you would have stayed on it, So there's a lot of, there's a little bit of vagueness to it. I like it.
Yeah.
I do like that vagueness. I think it's satisfying enough. That you can fill in the blanks. But this is also one of those movies, I'm not surprised you watched it all, because it's basically one of those movies that's asking one central question.
Yeah.
And it kind of goes all over the place, and you have to see it until the question's answered.
Yeah.
And it is eerie because, he gets a little intense when he's having a vision, and his eyes, they have some lights in his eyes, and it makes him glow a little bit and stuff. But I just think this is it's well written. It's a good written story, and I think it's made really well. I mean, when they're down in, what was that? They're doing a tunnel under a river,
and that's a tunnel.
Yeah, and that's a good setup, a good plot point where he says that it's going to burst. The tunnel is, and it's going to fill with water and all this other stuff, and that kind of plays into that courtroom scene as well. So he starts getting in trouble. Because if he can see things, then why isn't he saving everybody? Yeah, and stuff. And he has a talk with the street guy, with the homeless guy, and and he says, "Oh, I know what I'm going to do now. I'm going to go back to my wife." And the homeless guy recognizes him and says, "No, you need to keep making predictions for humanity." Yeah. And so he's kind of torn between that and stuff. So it's sort of a supernatural drama, in a way. And I think that what I liked about it is that it didn't cheat to the point of it not having anything supernatural. There is something definitely psychic and supernatural going on. What threw me was the one person really appearing to instill it into him. And I kind of came out of it thinking, if I would make this today, I would make the twist that he has no power.
Right.
That he is getting possessed basically by her power, and she is speaking through him. That's the way I kind of read the movie.
Okay.
Because every time she's gone, he doesn't have it anymore.
No.
So you could look at it like she sparks it in him, but not the way she looks at him. If you watch the movie, she intently is looking at him when these things occur. So anyway, but
like he saw the apparition of his mother, and she was, and it was like her in her form. He saw when his mother was dying,
right?
And she appeared that's weird,
right. And the only thing kind of quaint about it is, Claude, you really couldn't see it coming when the chick wanted you and your wife was upset.
Yeah,
I mean, he plays like almost a Don Knotts-esque naive. And I'm sorry, but a psychic charlatan is not going to be so naive. He doesn't know when a woman is trying to steal him away from his wife. Sorry, but that's his name. So that was a little uncomfortable because, like, she'd be clearly into him. He'd be like, "Oh yes, like that," and he'd be and he would kiss Fay Ray like on the back of the neck when he was leaving or something, like little. Like that. I mean, when he would give her those non-sensual kisses, Angie looked over me with fire in her eyes. Yeah. Like, don't you ever, kind of thing. So, but I'm going to give this movie a great bait up. I enjoy it. It's an easy watch. It's not a long film. It's got an interesting story. It's well put together. The acting is good. The characters are well defined.
Yeah.
And it's satisfying to me. It's a satisfying film, and it keeps you interested enough to get to the end, and you want to see what happens.
Oh yeah.
In a way. And Claude Rains and Fay Wray are both, personal favorites of both of ours, I know, as far as especially these old actors from the older films and stuff. So I'm going to give it a regular Grape Ape Up. It's not the greatest film I've ever seen. It's not the most horror movie I've ever seen, but there's enough of everything in there, I think, to satisfy almost any fan of any kind of film. I think so, even a little comedy. Yeah. So there's some funny stuff in it. There's some funny stuff. That old codger in the movie, he's pretty funny, and everything. So,
he's real good.
So I'm just going to give regular Grape Ape Up. And that's it. What do you think, Mr. Ben Harley?
Same thing, buddy. Not a little more than a mild Grape Ape Up because I enjoyed it. I liked it what it was for what it was. I liked the black and white stuff at times, and I like what they do with it. It wasn't heavy on light and shadow, but I do like some of the things they do. I love Fay Wray. Such a beautiful woman, but I like her as an actress as well too. And Claude Rains. I liked most everybody in the film. I thought was great. It's just a good movie. It's a good movie. It's not a lot of horror, but there's a little more suspense and other things too. But I enjoyed it. Thought it was good.
Right. Okay. Let's move on, Mr. Ben Harley, to our next official film. Let's see here. This one was actually shot in 1981, but wasn't released until 1983. It is the film The Final Terror.
The Final Terror.
Final Terror. Let me get out Movie Guy again and then give you a short storyline synopsis here.
Sure. All right,
here we go. A group of young campers out for what they hope will be a fun-filled weekend find their plans spoiled by a disguised, merciless killer who stalks the forest in search of new victims. Soon they are caught in a terrifying web of bloodshed and murder. It is up to the remaining few to defend themselves and put an end to the terror-filled weekend.
Yeah. Wow.
This is a very simple Friday the 13th Part 2 setup movie.
Yeah.
This is a Friday the 13th 2 ripoff. Unashamedly. It's unashamedly. And I like those movies because I like the feral killer guy out in the woods and all that stuff, and everything. So this was interesting in that it stars. Now, remember I said it was made in 81.
Yeah.
But released in 83 due to the fact that the cast was all becoming quite famous.
Yeah.
We have...
Big time.
Yes, we have Adrian Zmed, Rachel Ward, Daryl Hannah.
Yeah.
Joe Pantoliano, which is hard to say, but I know that guy. Yeah. Mark Metcalf from Animal House.
Yeah.
And Twisted Sister videos. You remember that guy? Twisted Sister on your pledge pin.
Yeah. What are you going to do with your life, Timo? What do you want to do with your life?
I want to run.
Well, that's right.
Yeah. They're all familiar faces, even if the names aren't. Yeah, familiar faces. So not unlike The Burning.
Yeah.
Remember, The Burning has a lot of famous people, and this does too. So clearly, once these people started getting famous, it was pulled off the shelf and released. And I do you remember when this was released at theaters? I do. I remember clearly.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay, because I remember when it was released because it was my kind of movie and it looked really cool. It looked like perfect to me or whatever. Now, have you seen this one before?
No, Timo, I have not, my friend. I've heard of it, but I have not seen this. No.
Okay, so interestingly enough, it's an odd film. It's kind of bizarre because it's all the horror slash in the wood trappings and tropes are all right there for you, but it's just not a body count movie.
No,
it's
not really.
It's more of a survival movie, like a survivalist movie. There is an interesting slasher in the woods story that is connected to one of the characters in the film. Now, what I meant by simple setup, these people are just going out in a bus to camp, right? I mean, there's really not much to it. They're going out there to camp and to wait around to get slashed by a maniac killer in the woods. That's basically it. I mean, it is.
You nailed it, Brian.
That's it. And their expectations are met, sort of. But it's a little deeper than a regular Friday the 13th movie or something.
A
Don't you
little
think?
bit.
Yeah,
a little bit. Now, and now, Tim, are they are they counselors or whatnot? Because I know what they're doing. They're taking that the bus to go, and then they're gonna camp and canoe back or take a boat back and stuff, and then meet the bus somewhere down the river, right?
Yeah, and it looked like they were cleaning stuff up, like they were getting ready for something. But it's such a who cares?
Yeah, right.
In the story that you kind of forget it and lose that real quick. It doesn't really matter while they're there. It doesn't play much of a role in it at all,
Because because right off the bat, that Joe, what's his face?
Pantoliano?
Yeah. And I like that guy, and I know he's in one of your favorite movies, Goonies. I know that.
Oh, yeah, my favorite. Love it. Woo-wee.
Yeah, poor Angio. But yes, he's squirrely right off the bat, and he's a total jackass. He's the one that drives the bus, and he's kind of like a counselor, or he's taking his duties a little bit too much. He's doing a little bit much. And he's just a jackass, know. And I know, so he drives the bus and takes the kids there or whatever. But he's just the whole time is such a jerk to them while they're camping, and then they tell that story like a killer in the woods type thing, but it has a twist to it. It's a woman has a baby and can't keep it or something, right? So I don't know the exact story,
right?
But there's a story,
right? It is Friday the 13th Part 2, almost reversed, reversed. If you take Friday the 13th Part 2, and take all the cabins and Camp Crystal Lake out of it, that's what it is.
There you go. Yep.
That's pretty much what it is.
Yeah. And really, and so he takes offense to it and takes off into the woods to, and he's going to go down and beat them or whatever. The two of the guys in there are trying to get some weed, aren't they, Timo? They're trying
they're trying to get
steal. They know they've been out there and that someone has a weed farm or something.
Well,
so that's their plan, I think, right?
Well, let me tell you, it was shot in the redwood forest where me and Angio and Danny were just at.
Yeah.
There's lots of weed farms up there. Now, now they're exposed and they're open. You can smell them because it's legal.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think at the time, yes, they were looking for an illegal weed farm to steal the weed, which you don't want to do.
Yeah.
But anyway, yes, you're correct.
And they set the one guy up from Grease 2. They set him up, for and then he disappears. They think he's lost. You do too, and then they come across that creepy cabin, and that cabin's pretty good. You don't see a lot of it, but there's a lot of creepiness going on in there.
Right.
And what I did like about this, and I didn't notice it, and I won't give away the movie, but there was something that I noticed early on, and I was like, man, it's nice after knowing that I recognized it. You know what I mean? But you really don't know. There's something in the woods out there with them and the cabin. You don't know if this is the person that lives in that cabin. You don't know if this is a human being or a Bigfoot or a swamp thing, or a wood booger.
Right.
Or
You're
a skunk ape.
Yeah.
You don't. You really don't. And I appreciated that too. So, Timo, I don't want to give a whole lot away of this movie, but I really did like this movie. It's got its moments. It has moments that I didn't like.
Right.
That took away from it. One of them being the whole moment of the movie looking like crap. I mean, fuck, man. We just watched the Clairvoyant from 1935,
34. Yeah.
And that looked better than this. It made how many years later? Almost 50 years later,
Right. What happened real quick, thing I told you, was that this is one of those movies where they lost the negative. They can't find it. Yeah. So the best thing they can find is the best print they can get a hold of. So that's what they did. Hey, how far away are you from Findlay, Ohio?
About 45 minutes.
About 45 minutes. That is where Mr. Mark Metcalf from Animal House, otherwise named Niedermeyer. That's
really?
where he's
from.
That's where
he's. I did not know that.
Yeah, he is from there. And it's funny too. I was kind of looking around, and he is also in The Heavenly Kid. So there must be
wow, yeah.
some kind of connection going on here, Miss Bonner. Not to interrupt you, but I did.
No,
I did
brother, good
interrupt
old
you.
Finley, bring it up. Yeah, actually,
Yeah.
you know, my ex-wife Julie, she went to Finley,
Uh-huh.
to college there in Finley. She's an Oiler. So is Ben Roethlisberger. Finley Oiler. Yeah, you know,
Gotcha.
and yeah. So in one of my favorite pizza joints is in Finley. So that's the place I
Sweet.
stop at when going to conventions or to come see you and stuff. I always stop in Finley to get my pizza on the way, and
Right.
that's great to know that. I like that guy. You know, so funny. Real quick, sorry. When they wanted to do that Twisted Sister video, they were like, man, we need to get someone like that Niedermeyer from Animal
Right.
House. So
Yeah,
like,
I remember
I
that story.
don't think that guy's doing as much. You might be able to get him, man. You know,
Right.
that was awesome, man. I love that stuff. That was great.
Right.
I love the Niedermeyer character too, and I liked him in this movie. I liked him. It was cool to see him in a different role as not being a smarmy jackass. He's being like the big daddy of it, he's the head cheese, being keeping everybody together and keeping people from fighting and stuff. But Tim, this is my style of movie too. You know, the woods, the killer. I think if it looked better. Would have helped for me. There were some low points, but for the most part, I liked it. I think it didn't, like you were saying, the body count's kind of low,
Right.
but it did amp
low.
up more towards the end. Things really started to amp up a lot more, and it got a lot more hairier and scarier and stuff like that. So I did appreciate that. But I'm going to give this movie, though, Tim, I think more of like, same thing, a regular Great Ape Up. If it looked better, I'd probably give it even a bigger Great Ape Up because I liked the attempt and I liked what it was about. I liked the creepy cabin. I liked the not knowing what was going on,
Right.
as far as what this person, creature, or whatever was.
Right.
So
this movie is a very curious movie, Mr. Ben Harley. First of all, it's directed by Andrew Davis, who directed The Fugitive.
Wow.
Okay. And he also directed Holes. He directed Under Siege. Yeah. Of course, he also did direct Code of Silence with Chuck Norris in it, and Above Law. So he's an action movie type guy. What's very fascinating about this movie is there's hardly any deaths in it. As a matter of fact, they had to go back and shoot more.
Did they really? Wow.
I think the opening scene, there is an opening scene where a couple gets killed.
Joggers,
that was
right.
Yes, they were riding bikes or something or doing. I don't know what they were doing, but they added that in later because it's more of a chase survivalist film than anything else. So there's some realism to it. One thing I do kind of like about it, and I think this was coming out right around the time where this was kind of starting, but I like the little booby traps and stuff that were set in the woods by the killer. The killer is sort of revealed as the plot goes along, and it's something I really don't want to give away because if you watch the movie, it might be the only piece of storytelling worth hanging on to in the film. It does look pretty bad, but in fairness, Shout Factory or Scream Factory, same thing, put it out, and they have a little disclaimer in the beginning saying, look, this is all we got. This is the best we can do right now. Although when I was watching, I was kind of like going, well, you could maybe take that transfer and make it better. Yeah, but I don't know. I'm not sure. It's rough. I mean, I say that, and if it was that easy, they'd be doing it, or whatever. So clearly a film that was put on the shelf probably because of the low body count. Yeah. And maybe they were making it so they wouldn't catch a lot of heat because remember, Harley, back in the early 80s especially, people were freaking out about the violence in these movies. Oh, yeah, to the point where by the late 80s, that's why we got the crap we got. Because there was a lot of blood and stuff, but it had to be goofy and it had to be monsters getting it, not people as much as monsters, So or they were just making them unrated now. You weren't going to get a theatrical release. Or if you got a theatrical release, you had an unrated film, which couldn't be advertised half the time because it had no MPAA rating and nobody would advertise that, So basically, might as well be rated X. They're not going to advertise that. So that's what they did. So it's a curious film. I'm going to give it a regular Grape Ape Up. I do wish it was more. I wish there was more murders in it. I wish there was more killing in it. It is fascinating. There's not. I mean, when you end up at the end of the movie with pretty much the same amount of people that you started with in a slasher film in the woods, that's unique.
Something's different. Yeah, something's wrong.
I'm being nice then saying it's unique, but it's unique. It's kind of unique. But I mean, just to watch these people, all these super famous people, at least they were super famous, like just a few years later in the 80s.
Oh, a couple of them were huge after that. You know?
Right.
Daryl Hannah exploded, man.
Yeah.
You know.
So just seeing all that is interesting enough. Not unlike watching The Burning. I think The Burning obviously had a better body count, clearly, and everything. But this movie has some kind of strange, eerie, like creepiness. And I think the crap print helps it a little in that regard. In that regard,
I'll give you that.
It kind of keeps that feel of that, like, icky. And then, you know, I mean, what is the body count? Like maybe 5 people tops,
maybe
in the entire film.
Yeah, there's a lot of. Well, it's not a lot of people, but there's a lot of characters.
There is a lot of characters. Yeah,
a lot of characters.
Yeah. And I think 2 of them are bad guys. So I mean, you know, it's like, is what it is. But again, just a regular Great Bait Bup for a very curious film, though. Seek it out. Very curious. It is on Amazon Prime as well. You watch it on Prime. Believe me, my Blu-ray didn't look much better. No matter how bad it looked on Prime, it didn't look much better. So both of these films, The Clairvoyant and Final Terror, are on Prime. So if you have Amazon Prime, if you're interested in seeing these movies, folks, go check them out. I think they're both worth looking at compared to a lot of other stuff. So give them a shot.
You got that right.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, I don't know what we're doing next week, Mr. Ben Harley. But until then, check out Prime, check out these movies, and then we're going to sneak one up on you next week, or 2 up on you next week. You won't see them coming. You won't see him coming. You know why? Because you won't think about it at all until we do the show next week. So, anyway.
That's right.
Until then, Mr. Ben Harley, stay spooky, and we'll talk to you then.
Keep it creepy, people.
You've been listening to the Tim O and Harley Show, brought to you by ScreenPrintingFactory.com, your affordable one-stop solution to all your screen printing needs.